Hello, guys, and welcome to the Legendary Ladies podcast. And today we are doing something a little different, and we are talking about music, which is one of my favorite things to talk about on the podcast. A few months ago, we talked about Taylor Swift versus Carly Rae Jepsen. Both their albums came on out on the same day. So we had a Taylor Swift album come out on the same day as a Carly Rae Jepsen album. And funny enough, Amy, you said that you actually became a Carly Rae fan, and you
I
went to a Taylor concert
I
after all
did. I
that.
went to a Taylor concert shortly after, which we all knew was going to happen. What I
Yeah.
did not know is that I would become like a major Carly Rae Jepsen fan. And for those of you who are keeping track, we decided that Taylor had the better bangers, but Carly had the better album. Is what we
That is
decided.
true,
I
yeah.
think.
We
I think that
did.
was
And
the final verdict.
it was. And also I hear that I don't know if you listened to it, but she did have a B-side that came out for that album, which was the recent that came out. I haven't listened to all of
Uh,
it though.
Oh.
yeah, her newest
Yeah.
album, Dedicated. That one had a B side. The Loneliest Time did not
Well,
have a B side.
so the one that just came out, which I thought was the B-side to the previous one. Because that's like just their extra
No,
songs.
there's
It
also
wasn't.
a new one too.
Oh, I thought
Oh,
it was
is
part
That
of
I
the
there?
haven't actually
same
fully listened to
thing.
yet.
Oh wow. Well, I have
I'll have to
to.
double check.
Yeah, I thought that might have been like new, like the way they released it was like she had her album, and then she's like, "Oh, I had extra songs." They did it with Emotions too. She had Emotions, and then she released another album. And it's like, oh, it was part of the same sessions, but it's like a new album, but it's really still
No,
Emotions.
yeah, Dedicated had a dedicated and then a
Yeah.
side B.
Oh, yeah,
And
I do
then
see there's the loneliest time and the
yes.
loveliest
That
time.
one. Yeah, so the Loveliest Time is
Oh.
technically the B side of the Loneliest Time.
Oh, interesting. Okay,
Oh.
I did not know that.
I
I've
have
been
not
listening to
listened
The
to
Loveliest
this.
Time. I've been starting to listen to. Okay, okay. I didn't recognize that. It's
New
one of those
Carly
things where you
Rae
listen to
music.
it like on Spotify or like on Amazon Music or whatever how you're listening
Hmm.
to it, and when it just kind of auto plays, you don't even recognize. Oh, this is a different album. It just kind of all blurs together.
And then the way she releases it is tricky because she is releasing it like a year later. It's technically a different album, but it's just like they consider it. Like honestly, you can even consider Everlong the B side of Folklore because that's technically the same session, but it's
Yes.
a
You
different
mean
album.
Evermore? Wait,
Evermore,
Folklore.
sorry. Folklore Taylor Swift's album
Evermore.
and
Yeah.
Evermore,
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah.
That's like her B side technically of Folklore. It's like during the same sessions, but
Mm-hmm.
it's a different album.
Yeah.
Speaking on something we
Anyway,
haven't
that's not
done.
what we're here to talk
All
about.
right. What we're here for is, and something that's a little different, is we're actually talking about singles that came out. So these are not albums. These are two songs that came out on the same day from two very popular Disney stars who became very popular pop stars, who are also actors and singers. And what I thought was super interesting about these songs is that they're kind of singing about the same thing in a very different way. Uh,
We should bring up what songs they are.
yes. So, and the artist. So the thing we're covering is
Cat's just diving right in.
diving right in. Selena Gomez singles. Oh, we lost Amy. She's like, you know what?
Oh
I don't
no.
want to talk about it. But audio listeners, you probably won't recognize that Amy's gone. But hopefully she'll be back. Oh, there she is. She is. Told you wouldn't recognize that she's gone for the audio listeners. Okay. So Selena Gomez single soon came out, and also Miley Cyrus's "Used to Be Young." So we actually just watched the music videos too, which is so interesting with the singles is that they released it with a music video. It wasn't just a song, which I like. Sometimes you'll get music videos after an album comes out and you're like, oh, I already know that song because I listened to the album. And then it becomes more popular song because they have a music video. But this time they released the singles with the music video. So we actually just watched the music video again just to kind of get our really initial thoughts. So I want to talk, I guess, about the songs first, and then we'll dive into the music video. So I know Amy has strong thoughts about it, so I want to go to Morgan first about which song, how you felt about both songs, and I guess initial thoughts of which one you liked more.
That's a good question. So they're just so different, the songs, that I feel like it's hard to like head to head them because the Miley Cyrus song is like
A
very
ballad.
yeah, it's more a ballad, it's very emotional. The Selena Gomez song is like, this is what I put on to like get hyped out before I go out with my girls, my girlies. And like the difference in the in the music videos is also striking because like Miley's is like she's standing and like the light is changing, she's crying, and Selena's like, I'm gonna try on these shoes. So it's weird to compare them. I would say, I think from the perspective of like, is it like what is the better song? I think I'd have to go with Miley's. But I feel like I will say, I hate to say it, I think Selena's is the catchier one for sure, because I'm gonna
Sure.
have that stuck in my head for like days. I'm gonna be going to sleep going like, these shoes.
Here's my dress.
Exactly.
So, Amy, thoughts?
Here's the thing about Selena's song.
Mm,
In my opinion, the only endearing part about it is that it is catchy.
right.
In
No, it is
my
very much like
initial
an
thoughts,
FU song. It's like, oh, a
my
guy who
initial
has feelings
thoughts,
for me. Hell,
like, the music is juvenile, the lyrics are basic. Anybody could have written this song. That doesn't seem to have any sort of connection. Like, if you're going to do a song like this that is just kind of like your basic pop song, give something unique. The beat is the same as every other pop song. The story is the same as every other pop song. The music video goes with it. It just doesn't stand out at all. It is so basic, and I've been listening to a lot of kind of up and coming newer indie artists who are writing songs that are so out of this world good that it's frustrating to me to hear something like this, where Selena, who is an excellent singer,
right.
was able to basically, it's like you're a great cook, but you cooked mac and cheese, and everybody's gonna love it because you're a great cook who cooked
Look,
mac and cheese.
don't say anything.
I was
bad
about to
mac
say,
and
hold
cheese.
on though. Like, you could do a really good mac and cheese. Let's do like meatloaf, okay? Like, let's compare it to meatloaf.
Okay. Yeah. No one here likes meatloaf.
I love meatloaf, but
man.
it's just it was just almost disappointingly basic to me. It had no variety in it, and again, I went back to listening to the Carly Rae album. I'm like, oh, there's some unique stories in here. There's nothing unique about this. Oh, I'm gonna break up with my boyfriend and go shopping. Great.
Which is
And then you
interesting
have
about
Miley's
Carly.
song.
Carly, I want to go back to that for a second, is because she's such sugar pop. You know, she's known for pop girly, and you're right. Like, her lyrics are definitely a little bit more depth, and like on the surface it sounds so poppy, but when you listen to it, it's like, oh, this has like a lot of different layers. But you're gonna say about
Yes.
Miley.
Well, yeah, and Carly's albums, like her songs, yes, it's got the poppy, but each one has a distinctive theme.
Mm.
You know what Selena's song feels like? It feels like AI wrote it.
I can see that.
It feels like AI
can
wrote
see
it
that,
and
yeah.
produced it. That's exactly
they
what
did.
it feels like. And it's frustrating because it's something that you almost expect better of.
I would almost
Now-
say that this feels like a 2010s pop song. Like, it
Yes,
doesn't feel very
it's
like
derivative.
It doesn't. It feels old. This song feels old. You could play me this song and say, "Remember that song from your college years?" And I'd be like, "I mean, kinda, yeah." I
Single
sorta
Soon,
do."
Selena Gomez.
Yeah.
Yeah. This came
So
out
where
in
was the growth?
2008. Am I right?
And that's the thing. Where was the growth? What has changed in Selena 10 years ago versus now?
Which I'm
And
going to
then-
talk about her discography a little bit, but go on.
You compare it to Miley, and this song is
Right.
literally about how I have changed. My initial thoughts on the Miley song were, oh, I like this. Like, this is catchy. I like the ballad aspect. I could see people doing some really beautiful acoustic covers of this. I like that kind of stuff. I know it's strange, but I do enjoy listening to songs that I know people are going to have fun writing covers for.
Right.
Because I like singing them. I like singing, a version of the song.
But you don't
Single
think
Soon,
Selena-
what variety do you have?
But you don't think Selena? Well, I was gonna say Single Soon. Some of my favorite covers are the ones where they break down not stupid. I don't want to say stupid songs, but like songs that are like fluffy. Like, I was just listening to I really like, what's her last name? Lizzie. Let me look her up in her name because she's such a good artist. Lizzie
For those of you-
McAlpine.
Who are only listening on this podcast, you are missing
Things are
the
going great.
greatest challenge of Morgan fighting her cat while he's
Things are
trying
going
to
great.
eat her
Bunsen,
headphones.
Bunsen would like to eat the headphone wires, and I would like him to not eat the headphone wires. And we're in a sort of a eternal struggle right now, buddy. Oh, no.
Yeah, you guys have to
Buddy.
subscribe to our YouTube.
Hi.
Hi,
Bye,
kitty.
Definitely
He was
subscribe.
being so lovey, and I was like, "Oh, this is so great!" Like, I'm giving him scritches, and then he was like, like straight for the wires. I was like, "Oh my god,
It's like, don't do that.
don't please."
But what I was saying about covers is that I think it's interesting when like songs that don't seem to have a lot of depth. Like I was listening to Lizzie McAlpine, who's a great singer and really good sad girl singer. And she did a cover for Dancing Queen. I was like, all right, well, ABBA, okay, let's see. And I was listening to it, I was like, whoa, like have a different, like I understand this song differently now because of like how they slowed it down. And I don't know if
But
this song
there's
is similar to that because the dress and the shoes, but
but there's at least some variety in the lyrics for that ABBA
right.
song. I would have to look a little bit closer at the lyrics, but there's almost no variety.
Well,
The
she's picking up
bridge
her
is
dress,
the same.
trying on the shoes.
Every chorus
And then
is
she's
the
gonna be
same.
single soon.
Be single soon.
Single
And
soon.
that's it. Miley's tells a story, and I think the music video elevates it because as soon as it opened, I was like, oh, this is going to be a single shot. This is not going to be a music video.
Right.
This is going to be her singing it. And it is, you know, you think about, the thing I liked about it is it immediately actually started me thinking about the lyrics and looking back at your youth and saying, is that an excuse? Can you say that like, yeah, I was just young and that's why I did all these things? Are you allowed to say, hey, well, I was young and in my 20s and that allowed me to do these things and to do all this stuff? And like, I don't know if you guys know this, but maybe Kat, this is what you were going to tell me. They released this the same day like historically over 10 years ago, that VMA performance where she was twerking happened on the day that it was released. So this was her calling back to those moments of her youth. And I love that. I think that if you're going to release a single and it's going to be something like this, it's evident that she wrote it. It's very clear that she put her heart into it. And I think, like, ultimately, is it catchy? I don't know. But
I'll listen to
it's
it
a
a lot.
story. I'll listen to it
Yeah,
again.
I'll listen. I'll listen to it. It won't. It's not like it's not an earworm. Like it's
Yeah.
not going to be. I'm not going to
Good
be
way to
like
put
going
it.
around the house going like these shoes. But I think it. Yeah, it tells more of a story. It feels like it couldn't have been sung by somebody else. Like it
Right.
feels like a Miley Cyrus song versus like Selena. I think the single soon you could give to almost any pop artist, and she would
Nail on the head.
do a good enough job at it.
Well, what's interesting about
exactly it.
the music video, because you referenced one thing, but there's a lot of interesting things in that music video.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously the Disney shirt, but
The Disney shirt was the one that stuck out to me immediately. I
yeah,
was like, oh,
yeah.
okay.
Ooh,
that was
yeah.
good. But a couple other things is, and this is just get from articles, but she had a special camera where she was able to look at her mom, and her mom was on the other side of that camera, and that's why she starts crying. So
Aw.
she's looking through the whole entire time. She's singing to her mom.
No.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
wow.
the
That's gonna make me
background of
cry.
that music video
Shit.
is where she filmed Wrecking Ball.
Oh,
I
So
did
the
wow.
notice
whole
that.
back was Wrecking Ball. So it's like, wow, there's like all these little details. And something I really, first of all, I love Miley Cyrus. Like, I think I've told you guys before, but Miley Cyrus, like when I was a kid, she was like my ultimate idol. Loves Hannah Montana. Like I was such a Miley Cyrus fan. And then like I guess around, oh, we lost Amy for a second, but
I'm sure she'll be right back.
I guess around time of the VMAs is when I started losing a little fandom for Miley, and I was like, oh no,
Mhm.
she's just like kind of this pop singer. I don't know if I care. And then, but I still always liked Miley. Like I was still listening to Wrecking Ball, whatever. But throughout the years, what I've always really enjoyed about her is that every album sounds so freaking different. Obviously she started with the Hannah Montana stuff, and then the VMAs era, she was very poppy, almost the Selena Gomez poppy. But then like her last album, I want to see what it's called. I think it's Midnight's. Let me see where it's something Midnight's or something like that. Something with an M.
That's Taylor's.
No,
is
but she
Midnight's.
also has something with M. Let me look it up.
Yeah,
And
I have to
Um,
look at
that's a
the
solid point. Is you
discography.
got to look at
Oh,
the
I'm
growth
sorry.
of.
It's Plastic Hearts. Hers was Plastic Hearts. And that was a full-on rock album. Like that was full-on so rock. And then Younger Now is kind of maybe a little similar to what's going on with this, where she talks about nostalgia. But what I really love about Miley is just that she's very it sounds so distinct. She loves music. She loves the art of music, which I really appreciate with her. And I think with this in particular, um I like that it was very reminiscent to The Climb. If you listen to it, if you guys know The Climb, I'm guessing you do. It sounds like that ballad. It almost sounds like a sequel to that.
Yeah.
So
Agreed.
yeah, I very much enjoyed this song. I would say if I was nitpicking Miley's song, there's times where I think lyrically it could be a little bit more charged. Like I liked like, oh, when you're young, and there's moments where you could rhyme with like when I was numb. And I was like, oh, you missed an opportunity to not do that, you know?
If I'm nitpicking, there are some moments where, like, vocally, it's clear that there's not enough support in her voice.
Mm,
I'll be honest, in some ways, she's become more auto-tuned than normal.
mm,
It does actually sound like she is too like again, do I have any frame of reference for this? No. But it does sound like her voice is fundamentally changing. Like
oh,
it
I mean,
sounds
you
like
know her.
her
If you've heard her actual voice, right? It's very raspy
it's
now.
very
Yeah, it is.
raspy, but like more so than normal, to the point where it's clearly becoming difficult for her to sing
Right.
things that she would otherwise want to be able to sing, like the that
Right.
part actually felt strained to me.
Mm.
Now granted, if you now obviously she was not singing in the music video, so but it was probably very emotional. But you're singing in a studio setting, so there's a lot of emotion in that. And I think intentionally she was not going to make this a pretty song. This was not meant to be a vocally pretty song. This was meant to be a really gritty, honest, raw song, and so that plays into the story of the song itself. But that was my nitpicky thing, is that I think Selena had a lot more control in her voice in the song, whereas Miley's was just a little bit, almost not too raw, but it definitely edged on the side of edgy, as opposed to having that really clean, crisp pop sound.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's true for sure. Like you could tell that like the Miley song was trying to be more stripped down and more like raw, like taking all that kind of stuff kind of off of it versus the Selena one, which was highly produced.
Yes. And that kind of brings me to Selena, who has always been a very poppy artist. I've enjoyed her music. I enjoyed her Disney stuff. But the songs I tend to like are more of her emotional songs. Lose You to Love Me, I think is a really good example of that. That's like I think that's a song where she references Justin Bieber, where she's like talking about like, "Oh, you effed up a line in my song, and I know that you did." Like when we collaborated. And another song, which is actually from her documentary, which I did watch, "My Mind and Me," which I think is a really good song and very personal and very much about her mental health. And I like that Selena a lot more. And I think this, it's it's an interesting contrast because again, you just released that documentary about a year ago where you're just like very vulnerable, very open, and then you're like, let me just talk about this like poppy thing and not really go in too much in depth. And again, I think there's both of them have a little ring of nostalgia, right? Because Miley Cyrus is literally talking about nostalgia in her past and what Disney did, but also being nostalgic for Disney now. I mean, how many times she was just like, oh, F Disney. And then she's now like, oh, I kind of miss the mouse. And sometimes I am visiting Disneyland. um, and which is so super interesting. And then Selena, with all her hardships and everything, she's just like, let's let loose and just be like, let's have a fun time with the girls, and just not be, she just released that huge thing with her mental health, like I said. So I found it an interesting song, but yeah, which one am I gonna remember 10 years from now? Probably Miley Cyrus, right? The Selena Gomez one, I'm gonna remember My Mind and Me more than I'm gonna remember Single Soon.
I don't foresee a world in which I would ever be like, I want to listen to Single Soon. But I could find myself wanting to listen to Miley's song, because it's got that story, and that's important to the three of us. We're the kind of people
Mhm.
who enjoy that. There are people who are, that's too much for them. They don't want to listen to that. They want to be on Spotify and just have kind of like a poppin', bangin', rockin' in the background, same words. I can sing the chorus by the end of the song, kind of a song, and that's fine. But for us, I think that the story that Miley's song tells is more impactful.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Um,
agree. I was gonna say I was also looking up Miley, and I noticed that I think in conjunction with this song release, she did I want to say like a series of TikToks or
she
like
did. It was
some
super
sort of
A bunch
interesting.
of
Yeah.
TikTok
interview.
videos.
Yeah, I've only seen like one or two. I need to like go through and like actually watch them all, but like kind of talking about her past, and like one of them was where she read it like a day in the life when she was on the Disney show, and it was like when she was 13 or something, 13 or 14, and she was like up at 6 and then like working until like 9 o'clock at night.
Wow. which is so crazy to think that that was her life. And I was actually just looking up, like, is she going to be releasing a new album? But it looks like the song is actually attached to her last album. It's like a continuation of Endless Summer Vacation,
Oh,
which I don't know if you guys listened to or not.
I didn't.
I listened to it. Right now, the only thing I can think of is Flowers. But the whole song is about like if you guys know anything about Miley Cyrus, but she was married to Liam Hemsworth, and then that didn't work out. And yeah,
Oh, yeah, the
yeah,
flower song, I mean, I've heard that mostly because it became, like, TikTok, Instagram reel ubiquitous, like,
yeah,
you couldn't escape it.
God
You would,
bless
like it would be
TikTok.
like, "I would find my," and then it would be, like, a cat or something, like, with the flowers.
yeah,
It was just, like,
yeah.
just completely random stuff.
I mean, look, music is very different now. I was listening to a podcast. I'll talk about the last album from Miley in a second, but I was listening to a podcast about like how musicians there's like TikTok accounts where like a musician writes like one song and they like do clips of different sections of the songs just to try to get the boost of the algorithm. Like, oh man, they'll pick up this portion of it, and like obviously TikTok has changed music
It's
a lot.
it's worked for me. I have definitely found a lot of new music artists, like those quote indie artists that I've been listening
Right.
to. It's not maybe not indie, but like self-published people who they're not big. They're just touring to small little pubs or
Right.
small little venues.
That's
But
indie, I would say.
Yeah, that's
yeah,
indie.
man, their music is so good, and I discover it on TikTok,
Right.
or on Instagram Reels, and it's so cool to watch people grow and see that go. And again, it is just kind of sort of frustrating to be like, okay, well, she's gonna make $1 bazillion on this song. Like, great for her, love her.
And she made
Really
the
proud of you.
exact same amount of views as the Miley song, which I thought was super interesting.
That is
Yeah.
really funny.
I mean, also, but if you think about it, Selena actually does have more clout than Miley. Because Selena Gomez, I believe, is the most followed person on Instagram.
Is she really?
Yeah, she
Over
beat,
Taylor.
yeah, over Taylor. Yeah, she beat
Over
Kylie
Taylor.
Jenner. So let me see.
And the Kardashian and all of the
Yeah,
Kardashians?
Kylie, I think, was second, and then so right now Selena Gomez has, and again, this was a few months ago, so maybe it's changed, but 428 million followers. Let's see how much
Oh
Taylor
my
has.
god.
Taylor Swift, so that's 428 million. Taylor Swift only has 271 million.
Hmm,
So that's half of it. And then Kylie Jenner, we'll see if she got higher up, has
that is so
399
crazy.
million. Selena Gomez is actually still higher. She's the most followed person on Instagram.
That is insane. That would have not been my guess if you asked me who I thought the most followed person on Instagram would
Yeah,
be.
I don't know. I don't know what I would have guessed. I think maybe I would have said Kylie Jenner just because of
I
the whole
Yeah, I
makeup
probably would
stuff.
have said like a Kardashian of some kind.
Mm.
Yeah.
I don't even know how much Kim has, but I know Kylie, like she was high up there. But anyways, point being is like she has a lot of clout in that regard, so she probably shared it on her social media. And a lot of people saw it. Miley Cyrus, let's see how many people she has on Instagram. She
She has
has
214 million. I was just looking her up too because I was
so that's
curious.
half. That's half the
Yeah.
amount. I'm not saying that's not a lot of people, but yeah, no, it's interesting. But going back to Miley's last album is very much about like moving on and just like kind of living life for yourself. So it's really interesting to see like this kind of nostalgic piece attached to it and just be like, oh, this is I'm always curious about like how once an album's released where these singles go, because usually a single is to promote a new album, but it does look like this is like promoting the last album. Music's weird.
Yeah,
um
it really is.
uh, but yeah, no, I like the song. I really like Miley, and I think she's a great singer, and she's just so talented. And like I said, the love for music is there, and I as someone who grew up with her, it's just super interesting to see her be nostalgic for it. Like again, because I was raised on Hannah Montana, so it's just like it's kind of interesting to see her look back at it all. And yeah, when it comes to Selena, um I'm curious to see where the future of her is going to go because I think she's also made her name in different places. Miley is really dug into music more. Like she doesn't really do acting anymore. She's not like producing a lot of stuff. Selena, she's on, Only Murders in the Building. She
Yeah, I was
produces
gonna
other
say
television
Oh,
shows.
that's right.
that's kind of where I feel like I see
Forgot about
her
that.
most. I don't like if
I
you
want to
asked
watch
me to
that.
name a Selena Gomez
Good show.
song, oh boy, I would struggle. But I would be like, oh, I love her
Wolves.
on Only Murder.
That's
Wolves.
Oh,
isn't
Wolves
that
is great.
Wolves is
Yeah,
a great.
yeah,
What
yeah.
Wolves
honestly,
is a
I
great one.
freaking loved Wolves, and that's maybe one of the reasons that I was so disappointed with Single Now, Single now, single soon, single
Single
soon. Single coming up, y'all. But yeah, I think maybe that was like, I was like, comparatively, you had a really good song many years ago, and then it feels like we regressed. Anyway, I have said my piece.
I want to see if she has a new album coming out. Where did this song come from?
That is a great question.
Yeah,
Single
new
soon.
album will be her first without any sad. This is a YouTube channel from Ryan Seacrest. The title says with any sad songs. So this is gonna be a pop album. It looks like.
Okay.
I like
Ah.
her sad songs. I really enjoy her sad
Mm-hmm.
songs. I think they're so good. Again, My Mind and Me, recommend it. It's a really, really good song, and I feel like you get in her head a lot. But yeah, these are two very talented singers, and it was just cool to kind of like. Okay, let me ask you guys a question. Do you feel like did you get, besides Miley? She has the obvious nostalgia, but do you feel like Selena is getting any nostalgia here? Because it almost feels like she's fighting off age in a way, you know?
I agree. I think that I think what she's doing is tapping into a brand. She's tapping
Right.
into the fact that she does good pop songs. And that's
Yeah.
fine. She does good pop songs. She makes great mac and cheese. But that's all the shop sells is mac and cheese. Sometimes you need a little meat and potatoes. And Miley has a whole freaking like deli
She has a big
counter.
restaurant. Yeah, she's definitely.
Yeah.
She's got a big
But-
She's got a big restaurant.
She has a big but the thing is, but Miley is one of the rare singers that does that. Like, even if you compare it, like Selena Gomez is like the obvious, like, okay, she really is just doing pop songs. But even if you listen to Carly, let's say, right? Like Carly, you listen to her album now and you listen to Emotions, a very similar sound. Because it's like, oh yeah, that's Carly Rae Jepsen. You listen to Olivia Rodrigo, right? You listen to her driver's license song, and then you listen to Vampire. I'm like, yeah, it sounds a little different, but you know, it's still Olivia Rodrigo. Miley sounds like a different singer every single time she releases an album. She's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna do a ballad this time, but yeah, here's a rock song, here's country music. Like, she is, again, she has such a wide range that most musicians don't have.
It's
Besides
got a bit
maybe
of a
like
Taylor
Taylor.
vibe to it. Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
It's
yeah.
got a very Taylor-y vibe to it. Like I think part of that comes from the fact that she is choosing to tell the story of her life.
Right.
Like that they are telling the story as they're growing, as opposed to, I think, Selena, who again is getting comfortable with the fact that this song will sell. It's going
Right.
to do great. And you know what? Ultimately, not only will it sell and do great, people are going to love it. There are going to be kids who love this. This is going to be a fun song. But you know what? I think this is maybe the nail on the head. I'm holding a screwdriver. I don't know why. There was a screwdriver on my desk. And I realized I was like throwing the screwdriver around in the video.
Amy's just like softly threatening all of us.
No, man.
I think it goes to who your audience is. I think ultimately Selena and Miley wrote this for two different audiences. Miley wrote it for
Fans.
millennials. She wrote it for her people. She wrote it for every person who's in their 30s who has also looking back at their 20s and being like, can I blame the tattoo on the fact that I was young?
Right.
I was young. Yeah, I was wild and
And
crazy.
do I miss
I was
that?
young there.
Do I miss it? Is it like, who am I? You know, blah, blah, blah.
And then Selena's like, I'm gonna do it. I'm writing this for the tweens. I'm writing this for the YA people. I'm writing it for the people who want to remember their YA days, who want to remember what it was like to be in middle school. But I think that the audiences are fundamentally different, and that's fine. It's what's going to attract you. Are we the right audience for Selena's song? And I think the answer for the three of us is probably no. Are we the right
Look, I'm
audience for
still
Miley?
gonna sing about the dress and the shoes when I go to sleep. But I would say, as a pop fan, I still had a good time with it. Like, am I in the audience? Like you said, no. But I'm like, oh, I'm still at. This is
Yeah, I
like a
don't
nice,
hate it.
catchy song.
Just
definitely
comparatively.
Well, like, yeah, which
It's
one I like
so
more? Is Miley.
drastic.
I want to bring up two thoughts of that. So, like, I think a good example is Weezer. I can't believe bringing them up, but Weezer, they had really good two first albums, the Blue Album and Pinkerton, and that's kind of what they're known for, because they were this grunge band. Like, wow, garage music's back. And then, like, on their sixth album, let's say, they started singing about like the same thing. And you're like, wait, he's 40 years old and he's like, I can't get with this girl. It's like, you're married for like 15 years. This is not your life anymore. So I think maybe you're like, that's the same similar thing with that. But also going back to commercialism, and this is a very different story. Like, I could do a whole podcast about this, and again, very different circumstance. But Kesha, I love Kesha. I think her newest album,
Mhm.
it's one of my favorites of the year, is so freaking good. There's a lot of different things attached to it. Her producer, sexually harassed her and did a lot of different stuff that was horrible. And she's still under her producer for this. Like, she didn't work with the producer, but like she's still under that label. They're trying to get her away, blah blah blah. But then what I wanted to say is, like, if you listen to TikTok, that has millions and millions of views, but you probably didn't know Gag Order came out. You didn't know that Kesha's new album came out. It doesn't have a lot of views, but if you listen to it, it's not really pop music. It's really about her talking about her emotions and talking about like everything that's gone through her. And it's such a good album. I very, very, very much recommend it if you guys haven't listened to
I'm
it.
gonna
But if
add
you
it.
look at the numbers, it's like 60,000 views. You know, it's like, oh, it sucks that like some albums got, again, different, promote the album too, but I feel like it's because of the music style as well. It's like, oh, this is just sad music. You can't really turn that on the radio all the time, but you can listen to Selena Gomez Single Soon, and that's a very
Yeah.
easy
It's
radio
true.
listen.
It's a
Yeah.
very easy radio listen, and it's going to do well in stadiums. It's going to be a great licensing song.
Miley
It's going to
Cyrus
be
doesn't
great for
do concerts
Target.
anymore.
She chooses
Really?
not to do concerts
Yeah, so
because
that's
of
what I'm
how much
saying.
money she made.
Well, also, what
Wow.
my point of that too is, Selena Gomez can do a concert. Who knows if she would? But Miley, like you said, she's not making songs for stadiums, because she said, she's like, hey, like, yeah, she's making enough money, but she also said, like, I don't like doing them because I feel like
Yeah.
I'm like disconnected to everybody. Like, why would I be on this big stage with all these people? That doesn't make sense to me. I'd rather do a small intimate show with somebody.
Yeah.
That makes more sense to me. But my point being is, like, maybe that's why she's able to make music like this. If Selena Gomez wants to do a tour, she needs to release songs like this.
That's
But sorry,
Yeah.
I cut you off,
point.
Amy.
She needs the no. That's exactly it. She needs the bangers. She needs the like, the earworms to get people to sing along with it. I would be hard pressed to find a stadium full of people singing Miley's song with her. It just doesn't fit.
Right.
I didn't realize that
however-
Miley.
Climb.
I didn't realize that Miley wasn't really doing really touring
She's
anymore.
choosing
That's
not to tour.
that's
She's
super
literally
interesting.
done. She's not.
She's like,
gonna
no,
tour anymore.
I don't like it.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna do it. Good for her.
Yeah.
And she's
Pretty
saying
much.
she's prioritizing her health. But
Ah.
you know what I can see Miley's song in? Like a Grey's Anatomy. Or
Sure.
at the end, like it's going to be like one of those indie covers of it is going to make it into Grey's Anatomy. It's that kind of a song.
It's interesting because it is a radio hit, though. Because like I was listening, the song had just come out, and I don't listen to the radio, but Phil has an older car, and he put on the radio, and he was like, "Oh, here's that
What
Miley
a-
Cyrus song you're
What
talking
a
about."
diss right there. You're like, he has an old car. You had to listen to the radio.
You had to listen to that radio. Honestly, even if he didn't have an old car, he still listens to the radio. I don't know why he loves the radio so much, but he enjoys it. I like listening to my music in my time. But yeah, no, it was on the radio, so I guess it's still, it's still a popular song. It's just I don't know. I'm curious because I think ballads can still do well. Look at Adele.
Yeah, it's true.
Her music still is radio hits. I'm trying to think if there's any other Kelly Clarkson, like they still like people like, and also The Climb, I think, is a good example. This is The Climb, and The Climb is still popular and people still sing along to it. Now, is that as
Yes.
popular as Party in the USA though? I don't know.
No, but Wrecking Ball's kind of halfway in the middle.
Right. Yeah.
So
That's
that's
true.
hugely popular. But yeah, I overall, I am glad that we decided to talk about this because I don't know if I would have listened to either one of them on my own.
I don't think
It's
I
just not
would have
something that
either.
pops up.
That's my devious plans all the time for the show. Again, Amy was the one who's like, let's do some music stuff. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
I always have some music.
And
but
Kat
no
was
way to
like,
talk
I know
about.
what we're going to talk about. Now I kind of want to talk about the Kesha ones.
Please maybe when Morgan can't record with us, I would literally let's do
Yeah.
the Kesha one because it's so
Love it.
I love that album a lot. It has such a story. The lyricism is so freaking good. I'll probably listen to it tonight again. It's just
Morgan's
such a
like,
good album.
I want to go listen.
Oh, Morgan, you're invited to come though. You're invited to come.
Morgan's going to be in Italy.
We
which
need
I-
episodes to cover.
Sorry. You listened to it on your way to Italy.
There you go.
Really, Morgan, all I want out of your Italy trip is a deep
Kesha
analysis
listen.
into wine and food.
Yes,
Oh,
definitely,
okay.
definitely. Also, but
I
I,
just wanna know
also
about the
will
wine.
listen. I'll drink wine. I'll eat pasta. I'll listen to Kesha. Those are like that's the new
pasta.
eat pray love of my Italy trip.
Eat,
I like it.
play, love.
Oh,
Ah.
I was gonna say eat drink Kesha, but
You know what? But yeah, let's get into some last minute thoughts. So Morgan, overall, you know, you guys were both saying you guys wouldn't have listened to it. I'm curious uh if pop culture would have made you listen to it, but
I
these two songs aren't. I don't think they've made the mainstream in that regard yet.
Well, it's funny that you say that because I was listening to the
The
Selena
radio.
Gomez song on,
Uh
Spotify, and I paused it because somebody sent something to me, and it was like an Instagram reel or like a some TikTok or something, and it was the Selena Gomez song was in the background of, like, somebody going like, "Fall trend new fall trends," and I was
huh.
like, "Wait, did I forget to stop the Spotify song?" And then I realized, no, it was just in the background of this. So I feel like it's already gonna start migrating its way into, like, the TikToks of our lives. So I feel like I would have actually, eventually heard it, if I hadn't like, ma went looking for it.
Mm.
But it wasn't something that I would specifically look out for. I don't really listen a ton to Rachel in the chat asks, "Will Morgan do a mukbang?"
I hope so
Maybe I'll be like, "This is pasta."
for the
I'll
Patreon.
just a collection of me eating bunches of
Sommelier,
pasta.
taste the wine.
Yeah, I'm like, "Ho, ho, ho, fruity." Or,
That's Morgan say Italy. Ho ho
ho, ho.
ho. Which is not
That's a
Italy.
little French. Yeah,
That's a
I don't
little
know
French
where
there.
I'm going. I don't know. I'm going on the
Molti
Ratatouille ride in
bello.
Disney World. Oh yeah, there you go. Mamma mia, that's a good pasta. Uh,
So bad.
um, I don't remember what I was talking about. Oh yeah, I think I don't really listen to a ton of Selena Gomez. Like I probably have listened to Selena songs like on the radio, but it's not
Right.
something that I'm like looking up to be like, oh, let's put on the Selena tonight. And same with Miley. Like I've heard her big songs, but I wouldn't know any like deep cut Miley Cyrus songs from like that don't make it onto like the
Right.
radio. So I thought it was kind of fun to like look them up and listen to their new songs because I was like, yeah, I independently I don't think I would have done this, and I liked them both.
I like that. No, that's so cool. Like, I try to make an effort to like if I know an artist, I try to make an effort to like listen to their albums. But I don't do it nearly enough. I want to do it more often. Like I did it for Harry Styles. I do it for Post Malone. Love my boy Posty. Did it for Miley. You know, I do it for Selena, Taylor, obviously. Yeah, I want to do it more often because I think I like getting the full story from an artist.
I have a fun Post Malone story
I'm
that
ready.
is not related.
I'm ready.
Um, did you know that Post Malone is a big Magic the Gathering player?
I did know that, and he's a big. So the reason I'm a fan of Post Malone is because he's actually a big Good Mythical Morning fan. So he's like a
Really?
very big fan, and he's been on the show, and he's become like friends
That's
with them.
so
So
funny.
yeah,
So Mike plays Magic, which is
uh-huh.
how I know that Post Malone is a big Magic the Gathering fan. And recently Magic put out this like card like expansion that was all Lord of the Rings themed.
Oh, that's fun.
And Willy Wonka style, they released one card that was the One Ring. Um, just that's it. They only did one card that was the ring. So everybody was like, "Who's gonna get it? Who's gonna get it? Like, how much is it gonna go for?" People were saying it was gonna go for like $100,000. It's gonna go for more. It's gonna go for $1 million. And then somebody found it and they sold it to Post Malone for like $2 million. So Post
What?
Malone has the One Ring Magic
I
card.
love that.
But I love
Post
I
that he's
Malone.
love
actually a
that.
fan too, and he
I
bought it.
love
He was like,
that.
"Yeah, go here, have $2 million."
Maybe we'll do something about Post Malone, but he's like literally like, and again, I don't know him personally, but from what I've seen and what I've heard, he's the nicest person ever. Like he's just like he's first of all, what I love about him, anytime he's talking to somebody, he's like, "Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am." Like he's like so
Aw.
polite. He's like, go look at interviews with Post
He
Malone and
seems
you'll
really
fall in love.
nice.
I love Post Malone. And I like his music a lot. So go listen to Post Malone. He has a new album. It's called Austin, and it's actually because his real name's Austin. Um,
Ah.
Austin Post, I think
He
is his
wasn't
last
born
name.
post.
That's his last name.
Oh.
Yeah, so it's like Austin Post.
Oh.
But so he did an album where there's no featured artist. It's just him and his guitar. So
Ah.
recommend it. Good stuff. And yeah, we'll maybe do something with Post Malone in the future. But first, first Kesha, we have to do. All right, so Amy, your overall thoughts of everything. What do you listen to these songs? You said no
Yeah,
originally.
yeah, like, oh, what I've listened to these songs? No, I think that I think the Miley one would have crossed my paths. I
Mm,
don't think the Selena one would have, like maybe on the radio. But ultimately, again, I'm the kind of person that looks at a story and I see Miley's as growth and story and something original. And unfortunately, Selena's is just kind of derivative. And best way to describe it is it really does feel like AI wrote it. Like I looked up who wrote the Selena song, and it's a whole bunch of people, and I was
mm,
like, okay, that makes sense. And I didn't even have to look up who wrote the Miley song because you
right.
know that she wrote it, and to me that is very valuable. And I think that means more to me as a listener and as someone who listens to art. That impacts me more.
Yeah. No, for sure. Um, all right. Well, I guess we are wrapping up. Let's see what's coming up for everybody. And also, I guess, yeah, my answer is obviously I would have listened to it because, I picked the songs. All right. Let's get into it. And Morgan, what do you have coming up?
Sure, you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram. I'm at Mojotastic. If you're following me on Instagram, I will post a lot of pictures of pasta. I promise you that.
Post Malone.
Check those stories.
Yes.
You can also find me as a co-host on Supergirl Radio, where depending on when this is posted, we either just finished up the My Adventures with Superman animated series, or I believe maybe Rebecca is posting some content from Dragon Con that was just as we're recording this, like this last weekend.
Oh,
So definitely make sure to check that out. One of these days I'm going to make it to Dragon Con, but
I've heard good
it
stuff.
hasn't
same.
happened yet.
I've heard
It's
it's amazing.
I hear it's really fun. It's like way more low key than San Diego Comic Con. Like you can actually they have like a wider variety of like small panels. It's not all like big stuff. That sounds nice.
No, I've like I said, I've heard good stuff and would like to go. Do you guys hear me well? Because my AirPods are pretty much dead. Uh,
No,
I
we
can
can
still
hear
hear
you
you.
still.
Yeah.
okay, good. Like there's one working right now. Amy, what's coming up for you?
You all can find me on Instagram, Amy_hip. You can also find me playing Katrina Van Tassel in Oceanside Theater Company's Welcome to Sleepy Hollow musical, which is happening here in San Diego October 9th through October 6th through the 29th. So basically it's all of spooky season. If you are in San Diego, come and check it out. It's really fun. It's very special to me. I was in it when I was a kid. It's an original musical, and now I get to be the female lead in it. It's just really exciting, and I'm absolutely loving it. So the website is oceansidetheater.org, but it's the fancy theatre. So Oceanside, THEATRE.org for tickets.
Cool. And yeah, for me, I have a Kickstarter coming up, The Dancer. It's the final issue. It's about dancer/assassin. Go check that out. And yeah, at Comic Uno for all the rest of the stuff. And hopefully, you guys enjoyed. We probably will have a lot more duo episodes coming up because we have some busy schedules.
And remember, if you guys have thoughts on Selena
Yes.
versus
Miley.
Miley, I almost said Hannah.
Hannah Montana.
Hannah Montana.
I was like, oh no. Email us, thelegendaryladies@gmail.com. Follow us, The Legendary Ladies, on Instagram and TikTok and YouTube. You can also find us legends_podcast on Twitter/X. We don't really know. But we really appreciate all of our listeners. And you could subscribe to our Patreon, patreon.com/The Legendary Ladies. You could be listening to this episode live. You could be commenting. You could be getting the episodes early. You can get super cool behind the scenes stuff. Like I think I'm going to post a clip from my performance in Macbeth coming up.
Yeah.
There is a video that we tried to post that ended up not posting, but we'll eventually post it about Kat trying hot sauce from
Ooh,
San Diego.
so kind of a new
hot sauce for
song.
the first. Yeah, it was great. But if you guys follow us on Patreon, we have a lot of people who really enjoy listening and joining in the conversations, and we love listening with you guys. So follow us and join us on Patreon and email us if you have thoughts. I like to see the thoughts.
Us too. All of us
Us too.
do. All right, guys, and stay legendary.